family member or, one of our own children or parents or something, when we make a meaningful difference in the life of someone who we care for deeply, it makes a difference in our own life as well. And that was really the thing that motivated me beyond anything else.
Welcome to the Pivotal Leader Podcast with Gina Trimarco, featuring lively interviews with CEOs, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who share their stories and best practices for shifting business from problems to profits. Sit back and get ready to pivot.
Hey, everybody. This is Gina Trimarco, Chief Results Officer of Pivot 10 Results, a strategy and training company that helps businesses shift from people problems to performance results. Each week on the Pivotal Leader, I feature inspirational leaders who know how to positively impact their customers, employees, and brand through culture building. On this episode of the Pivotal Leader, I'm interviewing Roger Morgan, founder and CEO of pawTree, a pet nutrition company, which he created in 2014 to provide a better way to care for and love pets. Just days before this recording, Roger received the Rising Star Award from the Direct Selling Association out of all the direct selling companies less than 5 years old. Pretty impressive. Roger has built a way to change a pet and a pet parent's life one meal at a time. Oh, that sings to my heart. And to enable pet lovers to thrive as small business owners who share and sell its products. A pet industry veteran, Roger served as CEO for a major pet products manufacturer for almost a decade, as well as served on boards for the American Pet Products Association, Pet Industry Joint Advisory Council, and PetSmart Charities. He's also dad to dogs Bella and JoJo. pawTree offers paw pairing superfood seasonings for dogs and cats, along with food, treats, supplements, and accessories. Its real food products are developed by veterinarians and PhD animal nutritionists, made in the USA, sold and sampled by pet lovers, backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and delivered to a customer's doorstep. pawTree products are available online and through more than 1,000 independent sales reps, also known as Pet Pros, located in all 50 states. Prior to starting pawTree, Roger served as president and CEO of the Retail Products Group, RPG, manufacturing and selling pet products to retailers from 2005 to 2012. Before joining RPG, Roger gained business strategy experience with the Boston Consulting Group. During his tenure at BCG, he optimized growth strategies for multinational consumer goods and retail organizations, including 2 years working abroad in Paris, France. His prior work experience also includes positions at Walt Disney Imagineering in business strategy and KPMG LLP, where he obtained his CPA certification. So let's listen in and learn from Roger Morgan of pawTree. Hey, Roger, thanks for joining me today on the Pivotal Leader Podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, Gina. It's fun to be here.
And quick congratulations on your Rising Star Award from the Direct Selling Association.
Oh, thank you. That was a real treat and a real honor to be recognized by the entire industry. It was really special.
Really cool. I forgot to mention, thank you for, you guys sent me a little package, a little treat for me to try out on my dogs. And I got to tell you.
You're welcome.
My dog, Roxy, she's a Shih Tzu. She's 11. She's a little bit of a prima donna. Whereas Lola the Pomeranian, that dog, like you could say food and she's like all over you. Roxy is very particular on when she eats, how she eats. She needs a special eating spot in the house.
Oh, wow.
And it's, it's because Lola's the top dog. So I think, and Roxy's a little more submissive to her, but she's still kind of this kind of little bit of a diva. And she's real particular about her food. She'll sometimes just be like, not going to eat. And I get really anxiety over it because Lola will just go over and eat all her food. Now, Lola's on a special diet because she's had stones. So I have to separate them to feed them. And then and then be protective of Roxy's food to make sure that Lola doesn't eat it. So I tried out your chicken flavored seasoning. And I put that on Roxy's food, and I wanted to see if she's going to be finicky, and she just went to town on it.
That's fantastic. It's music to my ears.
Yeah, I was oh my gosh, it's the answer.
It really is. And you know what? It's funny. It's not only for picky pets, but it's truly for all dogs and all cats, because just like you and I don't like to eat the same thing every day,
Yeah.
neither do our pets, right?
Yeah.
And but yet we pretty much feed them the exact same thing almost every single day of their lives.
Exactly.
And there's no reason for that. They get digestive upset, and it's important for us to make sure that they don't get upset tummies with their food. But as a result, they end up literally eating the same thing their entire life. So our pet food seasonings, it's just a fun way of bringing variety at mealtime, makes it fun as the pet parent to mix things up. It makes it really fun for the pet. And then in particular, in a case like Roxy's, where she's also a bit picky, or doesn't eat maybe as well, it really helps the pets like that as well.
Yeah, I knew Lola would be all over it, because Lola will eat anything you put in front of her. But I really wanted to test the product to see if the picky dog would eat it, and she did.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's fantastic! Thanks for sharing that.
So kudos, and it looked really good. I was like, gosh, this looks like seasoning I could put on my food.
I know, it's true. It's true. I actually had somebody send me a picture the other day of their like countertop by their kitchen, and it had human seasonings and pet food seasonings all in one spot. And I thought, oh gosh, be careful not to mix it up. Those pet food seasonings are really healthy, but it's freeze-dried raw meat.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that's good to know. So I will definitely, I'll keep them separated, especially if I've had a couple cocktails over the weekend. So I'll keep those separated. Yeah. So let's talk about pawTree. Give us kind of that elevator pitch about who is pawTree and what do you do?
Yes, it's really fun. I get asked this all the time, and I say that some people mistakenly think that what we do at pawTree is sell pet food or customized nutrition for pets, and it is true that we do offer dog food and cat food. Really healthy, amazing pet food. We also offer, fantastic supplements that really enrich pets' lives and make such a difference with all kinds of supplements, joint products or GI issues with probiotics and prebiotics, and, omega-3s and 6s with our wild Alaskan salmon oil. So we have wonderful, supplements and food and treats and seasonings and so forth for pets. And while we do offer all of those for purchase, it really isn't what we do, quote unquote, or what we what motivates us or what inspires us. What we really do is change the lives of pets and people. That's what we do, and that really is what gets us jazzed up and motivated to go share this amazing concept with people. Is that we see the impact it's having on pets' lives and people's lives in the process. And
what gave you that inspiration to get started? Because gosh, I'm a business owner, entrepreneur, and I know how hard it is it's pretty easy to start a business. It's kind of hard to keep it going. So what gave you the inspiration? Okay, you're excited in the beginning, and then it's like, gosh, this is hard. What inspired you to get started?
I think truly just seeing the better way that we, what we could do that would have such an impact on the lives of pets through proper nutrition, and also knowing my background has been in the pet industry for over 15 years. And so I've really had the privilege. I've always been a passionate pet person myself. I've been in the business for 15 plus years, and I've had the privilege to see really up close and personal that human animal bond connection, and how truly our pets, many of us do treat them as members of the family. And when we can make a difference for a member of our family, be that a fur family member or one of our own children or parents or something, when we make a meaningful difference in the life of someone who we care for deeply, it makes a difference in our own life as well. And that was really the thing that motivated me beyond anything else, was that I realized that with much better nutrition than most people are aware of and or providing for their pets, we could make such a difference in the lives of pets. And many of the issues that we kind of think our pets have, and we just kind of assume it's part of having a pet is that, dogs have bad gas, or they have bad breath, or they're itching, they itch all the time, or they, bite their paws. And those are not normal behaviors of pets. Those are behaviors of pets who have often, issues that are caused by poor nutrition. Mm-hmm. And if we address those issues in their nutrition, it's amazing how their life can be affected. And then again, as a byproduct of that, the way that our lives can be affected, because we really realize, wow, I did something special. I did something to really make a difference in that pet's life who I care deeply about.
And what obstacles did you, again, I think it's easier to start up than to maintain a business, but there's still a number of obstacles to getting a business started. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of that who are not entrepreneurs, the time involved, the money involved. But what were some of your biggest challenges in getting this off the ground?
Yeah, the vision is usually I won't say the easy part, but it's the part that comes naturally. I think I'm not an entrepreneur. You get the vision and you kind of see it in your head, and then getting that from a vision to actually, executing it and getting the results. That's where there's just a ton of work, and it's like getting a plane off the ground with momentum and inertia and gravity and all the things that play. It's pretty challenging, as you said. And I think there's a few things that really, some key things that certainly help me, and I think they're probably pretty applicable to any business that if somebody's starting a new business. And one is surrounding yourself with amazing people, a wonderful team, and I'll explain why in a second. But that's one thing, and then the second is obviously thinking through how much capital is needed and having enough financial resources to kind of get through the birthing process of a new business, because it does take time and money. And, those two things combined, you mentioned it's sometimes easy to start a business. It's not always easy to maintain and grow a business. And, pretty much there's one reason businesses go out of business, and that's because they run out of money. Yeah. They start losing money, and you can't sustain something that doesn't have money. And I think that's why having the right team and the right, capital resources are really critical, because in a startup environment, time is money, literally, because you're burning cash every day that you're still, cash flow negative. And so having a team, having enough resources to kind of work through that, and also having a team that is smart and experienced, who can draw on past experiences and certainly draw on data. But sometimes in a new company, as a young company, you don't have a lot of data, so you have to draw on intuition and experience and move quickly to pivot and see what's working and what's not, and then modify on the things that aren't working and accelerate on the things that are, so that your cash doesn't run out before you kind of figure it all out. So that's, those two things I think are pretty critical.
Well, I'm sure it helps with your background. You have a CPA certification, and I think a big piece of this, like you said, is money and capital, and really knowing your numbers, understanding cash flow, right? Being able to look at what's coming in, and when you don't have the unknown, you don't have the benchmarks, you don't have the KPIs, you don't have all that information in a new business, and have to trust the gut and have to trust the good team. Those are all key. You've got that mathematical CPA accounting background and consulting background. How do you find a really good team to put around you, especially in kind of a startup, new type of business?
Well, the way that I did it, and I think, probably for most entrepreneurs, it really, the more you can draw on past relationships and, find people who you've already, kind of been in some trenches with, and vice versa. So that, when you're starting a company, to attract somebody to come work for a business that's unproven, that can be challenging, and vice versa. When you're the entrepreneur and the stakes are high and you're betting, a lot, your personal livelihood. Usually entrepreneurs bet big stakes on their resources, their net worth, their reputation, etc. So it is definitely a two-way street. And so finding people who you have worked with in the past is generally preferable. It can't always be the case for every position, but I definitely did that where possible, and that way there was already a kind of a familiarity and a grounds that were proven that allowed us to really kind of lock arms and run fast.
That definitely was my experience in getting my business started up 10 years ago. That I relied on people I had previously worked with or who had worked for me that followed me into that crazy unknown world of startup. So that was very comforting. And then you start to notice over time as the business changes, your needs change for your team too. So that becomes the next interesting challenge to get to if you have to reorganize in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that absolutely. It's kind of a growing, almost a living, breathing organism, isn't it? In a startup, and as you learn and you build and you grow, you've got to add more process discipline and more structure and more experience. And it's always kind of trying to find that balance between being kind of having the foundation to grow to a business at scale, but also not encumbering a young startup with too many resources or too many processes or too many even people that kind of step on each other's toes. So it's kind of that balancing act. And as you move through the growth curve, it's important to continue to add capabilities and resources to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. If possible, it's not always easy, but to stay a little bit ahead of the curve, the growth curve.
So true. Kind of like to segue into the other people that you really count on, and that's you have over 1,000 sales reps that you call them
Pet pros.
Pet pros. Thank you. There it is. I was like, where did it go?
Yeah.
You call them pet pros. So your model is a direct selling model, which, thus you won that recent award. So it's a direct selling model. And I found this really, really intriguing. So I've got a bunch of questions around that. Number one, let's start with, I have a tendency to ask too many questions at one time, so I'm trying to get better at this. Why did you choose the direct selling model as the model for your business?
It's a great question, and I get that asked all the time, in particular because I didn't have any direct sales background or experience prior to this. So some people, start to kind of set out and say, you know what, I want to start a direct sales company, and what product can I find to sell through this channel? And I was the exact opposite. I was a pet products guy and somebody that had, experience and passion for the pet industry, and saw an opportunity, saw a consumer need to provide better nutrition for pets that would make a difference in the lives of pets and people. And so I kind of looked through that lens and said, what's the best way to bring this product to market? And so in the end, I chose direct selling for two reasons. One is because what I know about the pet consumer, and I know you're a pet consumer and I'm a pet consumer, and those of your listeners who are pet consumers will appreciate this, that when it comes to our pets, there are generally two resources we will listen to. And those two, and this is just data driven, this is a fact based on surveys, that it's the vet, and the second is friends, family, people and trust who have pets. And all the other ways that we learn about products, ads, end caps, in-store signage, an employee at a store, et cetera, Google ads. I mean, all those other efforts are a distant effectiveness versus a vet or a friend, family, neighbor, somebody and trust who has pets. That was a big reason why I thought, I know we have an amazing product, and the way that we are going to get people to try our product is not by sticking it on a retail shelf and hoping somebody walks by with a shopping cart and says, oh, maybe I'll try this brand new product I've never heard of before. That's not going to get the sale. What we will get the sale is when a friend, a neighbor, a sister, a brother, uncle, a high school friend, a college friend comes to somebody they know and says, you know what, Michelle, this product, I'm crazy about my pets, and I learned about this product pawTree, and I tried it with my pets, and it's amazing for these reasons, and I think you would really like it for your pet family. You want to try some. And that is the first reason why I chose direct selling. It's just because of the power of that relationship marketing when it comes to pets. That pet community is very tight. We're all very interested in what one another are doing, and we care deeply when somebody we know and trust has a good experience and wants to share it with us about our pet. So that's number one. Number two is equally important, but it's a totally different reason, is that in my experience before starting this company, I was the CEO of another pet products company and had some really neat experiences selling products to retail stores. We were the Walmart Vendor of the Year in the pet section. We were one of PetSmart's top vendors. We were one of Petco's top vendors. We sold to all the grocery stores and Target and all the independent pet shops. And so we had a lot of really great experience selling pet products to retail stores. And one of the things that I learned over that time frame is that it's very difficult for companies who sell to those big retail stores to control their own quality over time. And it's not that anybody's out with ill intentions, but what happens over and over is those big companies, those big retailers, they require over and over, over the years, lower and lower and lower prices. So, what was good enough this year is not good enough next year. And what's good enough next year is not good enough the year after. And so they're constantly looking to lower the cost. And because those big retailers have so much power in influencing the customer, there's always somebody who's willing to come in and enjoy that shelf space and be willing to take a lower cost. And so what inevitably happens, maybe not the first year, but over time, what happens is companies, they start looking for places to cut corners on quality in order to satisfy the price demands of these big retailers. And what I knew at the premise of what I was doing in this company is what we really we're doing is creating wonderful nutrition for pets by raising the quality, not diminishing the quality. And so in order for me to have control over the high quality of our products and know that what we're putting into these products is the right thing for the pets, and as a result, we do get we make a difference in the lives of pets, I needed to know that I could control my own destiny on quality, and that I didn't have somebody else telling me what price I needed to hit, and as a result, what corners I needed to cut. So that was the second reason. We don't sell through any stores. We don't sell online through any online vehicle other than our own website, pawTree.com, and through the replicated sites of these pet pros. And so we do control our own destiny with respect to quality. And we do rely profoundly on these wonderful relationships that these 1,000+ pet pros in every state of the country have with their friends, family, colleagues at work, classmates, etc., and the influence that they have to get people to try our product. And I always tell our pet pros, it's their amazing relationship that will get somebody to try our product, and it's our amazing products that will get that customer to stay with our products over and over and over because they see the results.
Well, I think it's pretty smart as a sales trainer and as a sales coach. What our company focuses on is really training in the arena of relationship-based selling, specifically using improv skills. We borrow from improv comedy, but we use those soft skills on how do you create those better relationships, because when people know you and trust you, they're more likely to buy from you or take your referral or your opinion or your recommendation. Quite similar to, I think, social media, right? When we talk on social media about if people looking for recommendations or saying, hey, I just did this and you should try it, people are going to gravitate to that. And that to me is one of the most effective ways to drive sales. So you've been in business for a few years. How much growth have you seen year over year, just from a percentage wise? You don't have to reveal numbers, but just to get an idea of how, because this was kind of an interesting way to do things.
Yeah.
Unproven and untested. So what's the growth look like?
It's been so fun because, the power of this model also is that it does tend to grow exponentially. And basically what that means is, when you tell 3 friends and those 3 friends tell 3 friends, that's 9 friends. When those, 9 friends each tell 3 friends, that's 27 friends. So you can see how the power of duplication works in this type of business. And so we have, it's actually quite remarkable, but we've doubled or more. We've actually between doubled and tripled almost every year since we launched, and that was January of 2014. So we're starting our 5th year, and just have really enjoyed that kind of fun, exciting growth that's happened. And like I mentioned, we now have pet pros in every state, and that number grows literally every day. We have new pet pros from all around the country sign up every single day, and it's been fun to watch the growth in pet pros, and of course the growth in customers and the growth in sales, and most importantly, back to what we do and what motivates us. We see that the growth in the number of pets that we're helping and the number of people that we're changing, those lives on a daily basis, and that really is the thing that's the most rewarding.
That's so cool. So who would be the most ideal for you from a sales rep perspective? Who are you looking for? Part one of the question, I'm going to leave it to 2 parts. And part 2, what are you doing currently to find more people to be your remote salespeople?
Yeah, so the ideal profile, I would say, and it's interesting because it doesn't have to be somebody who has mastered direct selling, or it doesn't have to be somebody who is a perfect salesperson, even, because we really do. We embrace the word sharing even more than selling. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, people need to buy products in order for commissions to be paid, and so it is selling. But our method of selling is so much more around sharing. Sharing samples, sharing our own personal stories, sharing the impact of these amazing products have had on our life and our pets' lives, and inviting others to try them. So the ideal profile of somebody who makes a wonderful pet pro is certainly somebody who does have a passion for pets. That certainly makes it more genuine, and it doesn't mean that people have to have pets. If you what I said carefully was a passion for pets. We do have some of our top sellers who right now, at the particular for certain circumstances in their life, they may not even have a pet, but they do love pets and care about pets, and that passion comes through. So I think when people have a passion for pets, another characteristic that we've noticed is when people have already demonstrated some success in their lives. This is the type of business that people can make of it what they want, and if they know how to be successful and they've been successful before in some other part of their life, they bring that to this business as well, and they're successful here too. So somebody who has had some success and knows what that looks and tastes like, somebody who's got a passion for pets, somebody who is enjoys being social and sharing and talking to others, because this is a social sharing business. Getting out and sharing with others and telling people experiences about your own pets. So that's also helpful. And then, people, I think the last thing I would say is people who really enjoy the independence and autonomy of having their own business and kind of being able to work when they want and, make as much or little money as they want. It's like most things in life, you kind of, get out of it what you put in. And so people who want to accomplish amazing things can put that kind of effort in, and there's really, no limit to how much somebody can accomplish. Or if somebody's just looking for a little bit of extra side income, they can put a little bit of extra time in and make a side income. So those are the types of people I'd say we attract the most, and the commonalities we have. The last thing I'll say that might be interesting, because some businesses, they kind of have a specific demographic, and they say, oh yeah, we attract females between age 35 to 45, or we attract certain income levels, or we attract, et cetera, et cetera. And for our pet pros, it's really interesting. We don't have a one-size-fits-all demographic profile, because, as you can imagine, male and female love pets. Mm-hmm. Older demographic and younger demographic love pets. Affluent people and less affluent people love pets, and can use these products, even though they're premium products. Premium doesn't always have to mean, expensive. There's value for them. So, people with pets, they might right now be feeding the cheapest pet food and the, least expensive products, but, and but they're spending, a fortune on vet bills because their pets are always sick. And
I was just going to say, you know what, I've been down that road, and I pay top dollar for Lola specifically to eat. And it's funny, right before we started this podcast, my vet called me I asked her to make some suggestions because Lola lost a lot of weight, and we couldn't figure out why, because she eats like a horse. But long story short, she called back with recommendations of a different prescription food for her to be on that might help her gain a little bit of weight, but not, have more problems. There's a value to, I spend more money on food to prevent higher vet bills and surgeries. And to your point, anyone who has a pet spends the money on the pet, right? And that's not going anywhere. People are going to continue to have pets. I think that's why this is another one of those recession-proof industries. And you've been in it a long time, so you could speak better to that. We're going to spend money on our pets, period.
Yeah, no. You're right. And there's one other, which I think is even potentially more profound, another way to kind of slice and dice this is, as you mentioned earlier, I do have a kind of a numbers background. I'm a CPA and have an accounting degree, and I've got a business degree, and I do like the numbers. I think the numbers kind of tell the stories. And at the end of the day, I love the stories of real lives and real pets and real people. But the stories are kind of told through the numbers. And here's an interesting fact about our food and our nutrition plans, which is that they are nutritionally dense. And what that means is we don't put in a bunch of fillers and junk into the food to lower our quality and lower our cost. We put really good, healthy ingredients, and we only put in what is needed to power and fuel that animal. And so the result of that is, maybe a bag of our food might be, a little bit more expensive for a bag, but that bag actually feeds that pet for many, many more meals because they actually consume fewer cups because it's so nutritionally dense that instead of feeding 2 cups of brand X, they might only feed 1 cup or 1 cup and a third of the pawTree food. And so it's actually fewer cups going in. The food that goes in is all used in a nutritionally dense way in the body system. And by the way, less in also means less out, so you have less to clean up. And it's an easier cleanup process because it's all the nutrients are used in the digestive system. So lots of good anecdotes there. But yeah, we've got a product it's an amazing product. It's a product that we always tell people, seeing is believing, just try it. And that's why we have a 100% satisfaction guarantee on every product that we sell. And our point is just, just try it. Just try it and see for yourself. And if you're not happy for any reason, we'll just give you all your money back because we're that confident that you will have a positive experience and you will be so grateful for the person who introduced you to pawTree that you couldn't imagine going back to the old way.
Oh, that's awesome. But how do you keep everyone engaged? How do you keep all your sales reps engaged? They're all across the country. A lot of direct sell companies, they have annual conferences, they do different trainings. What do you do to keep everyone engaged, informed, trained, and all of that?
That's a great question, and it is a very multifaceted answer. There's a lot of things, right? You can imagine, and it does go everything from, we do have an annual conference, which is fabulous. It is absolutely it is a life-changing experience for our pet pros to come to what we call Paw Fest, and it is absolutely everything that you could imagine a Paw Fest could be. It is wonderful training and announcements and exciting reveals and guest speakers and workshops, and our veterinarian advisory council comes and does a panel, and we do networking and team building and best practice sharing and have fun, and we have parties and dances and great food. I mean, it is just literally a wonderful long weekend that we pack all together into this amazing experience called Paw Fest. So we do that once a year. And then but we have a whole host of things. We have an amazing, robust training process that's all done online, so people can do it from their phone, on their computer. It's all web and app based. We have a weekly training call that is a live, training call. Actually, we do it through Zoom, so people can dial into Zoom and and participate, in a weekly live training experience. Those are all recorded, so they can go back and listen to those after. We have regular kind of training and community team building and connection through our Facebook page. We have a private Pet Pro Facebook group. The Pet Pros, they have a team of people. When they join under someone else, and so there's a whole community of people who are there to support and encourage. And then we have a home office support team, customer support, that is available to our Pet Pros as well as to our customers. And they're just an incredible team of people who truly do take it seriously, that their job is to empower our Pet Pros. And so anything they can do to empower them, they do. And so it's vast. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but there's a lot that we have to help build our community and empower those Pet Pros to be successful, get the training they need without overburdening them with training, because, we really try to make our process simple so that anybody can sign up, and without, having to spend a lot of time learning and practicing, they can get out and start doing and, benefiting from the results and the compensation that flows from that.
Well, I want to come to PawFest. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Please do. You're invited. Invited.
When is PawFest?
Yes.
Do you do that in the Dallas area?
We do it in the Dallas area. We also have a leadership conference that's once a year that kind of rotates. So PawFest is always the end of July in the Dallas area. And then we have a leadership conference called Legacy, and that's always in January. And that location rotates, from place to place, and we kind of go, different parts of the country. But yeah, PawFest is always the end of July, and you are invited. And
I'm gonna be in Dallas the end of July. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna come crash it. When is it?
I hope you will. It's the last Friday and Saturday of July. So, please do. Yes.
I get in that Friday. I get in that Friday.
Okay. Right. Well, all right. I hope to see you there. You're invited.
Well, I will hit you up for details on that. That sounds awesome. Two more questions I always ask everybody. When you're the owner, founder, CEO of a company, the buck usually stops with you. You're at the top of things. Where do you go to get your support, some advice, some leadership, some coaching? How do you stay on top of getting what you need?
Well, it's a great question, and I have a variety of places I go. I don't think there's one place for sure. The anchor in my life and my best friend is my wife of 25 years. She's not actively involved in the business, but that makes her a great sounding board because she's not actively involved in the business.
Exactly.
So, I don't, right? Yeah. So I don't take a lot of things from work home to her, but on important, thoughts or decisions or concerns I have, she's a wonderful sounding board. I also have a group that I've been part of for many years, part of YPO, Young Presidents Organization. Uh-huh. And there's a Dallas chapter, and I've got a forum group who I meet with monthly in the Dallas area of other CEOs of other businesses, and we've had a chance to share and talk and consult. And then I've got another group of very good friends I met at business school, and I got my MBA. And there's a small group of us that really hit it off and connected, and we have stayed in touch. Not just we live in all different places, but we physically get together at least a few times a year. Sometimes with our spouses, sometimes with our whole families, and are a wonderful resource for each other. And then, you've also got, professional organizations like the Direct Selling Association, like the American Pet Products Association, where there's a lot of wonderful peers and other companies to look to for advice and thoughts. And so I'm a huge believer in surrounding yourself with a lot of great people who have been there, done that, and know more than you do, and you can rely on. And I'm blessed to have some wonderful friends and colleagues who have helped along the way in that regard.
That's great. Any favorite books or podcasts that you read or listen to that you find good sources or tools for you?
I don't have anything that I would say is my go-to. I do, through the industry publications and so forth, I usually try to stay current on what's happening both in the direct selling, universe and the pet, pet products universe. I do have one go-to, reading source, and that's just the scriptures. I do read and try to, nourish myself spiritually as well as mentally and physically, try to exercise every day. And those things, I think, you do a little bit every day and they add up to a lot. You add a lot of strength over time. And so I do, those things daily. It's a way to try to keep the tool sharp.
Yeah. I think you need all of that to keep all of that combined. The scriptures can be a good business book. I don't think a lot of people know that. Yeah,
that's right. I agree with you. A lot of leadership principles and, decision-making principles and people, principles, a lot there.
Well, hey, it has been so great talking to you today about your business, about pawTree, this really great stuff. So appreciate your time today to be on the Pivotal Leader.
Oh, you're welcome, Gina. Thanks for having me.
And hey, real quick, before we wrap up, if people want to get a hold of you, connect with you, I know they can go to pawTree.com. Is there any other way that they should connect with you or get to know you or your business?
Yeah, I'm going to pawTree.com is a wonderful, resource that we really try to be an open book. So we've got all kinds of information on the website with the business opportunity to start your own business with us as a pet pro, products, the details of the products, the deeper somebody wants to look for more wonderful things they'll find. So we've got all of that on the website. The other place that is an easy place, if somebody wants a specific question answered that they can't find there, they could email support@pawTree.com and they can help direct those questions to the right people. Or if it's a question for me, they can direct it to me. Also an email that can be used as well.
Thank you again so much for being on the podcast today.
You're welcome, Gina. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again, everybody, for listening to The Pivotal Leader today with my guest, Roger Morgan. You can find show notes on this episode, including contact information for Roger and pawTree on our website at thepivotalleader.com. The Pivotal Leader is a production of Pivot 10 Results, a strategy and training company that helps businesses shift from people problems to performance results. You can find this podcast on iTunes, and if you're an iTunes subscriber, please leave a rating and a review. Reach out to me if you need any support with increasing sales or building a more engaged team within your organization. And you can do that by emailing me at gina@pivot10.com. You can also visit our website at pivot10.com. And do you know a pivotal leader who should be on this podcast? Maybe that someone's you. Drop me a line and let me know. And special thanks to MPD Ventures and Paige Dawson and her team for helping us bring this podcast to you today. You can learn more about them at mpdventures.com. And my new closing motto for our listeners, if you want to maximize, you need to be willing to improvise. All right, take us out, cool voiceover guy.
You've been listening to The Pivotal Leader with Gina Trimarco, owner and founder of Pivot 10 Results and Carolina Improv Company. You can find show notes for this episode on our website at thepivotalleader.com. The Pivotal Leader is a production of Pivot 10 Results, a strategy and training company that helps businesses shift from people problems to performance results. If your company needs help pivoting to success, visit pivot10results.com or email Gina at pivot10results.com. And until next time, if you're feeling stuck in your business, it's probably time to pivot.